And welcome. We're back here after our spring break for our April Sacred Synchronicity Circle. And today's topic is all the buzz lately. Nobody has not heard about the eclipse, right? So that happened Tuesday, right? Was it Tuesday? Yeah, I already forgot. Today's Wednesday. So was that just yesterday or is it
No,
Monday?
no, it was Monday. It was the
Monday,
8th.
Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think it was yesterday. And so I thought we've got so many things happening like that. It's springtime, new growth and trees are bursting out and still getting some snow in some places. We had snow a week ago. So we got the new moon, we've got the spring, we've got the eclipse. What else was I thinking about? Oh, Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury, the planet of communication. If you have any glitches in your electronics, you can blame it on Mercury retrograde. Or if you forget an appointment or somebody else calls and changes an appointment, we can blame all of that on Mercury retrograde. And so that's kind of our topic for today. So before we get too busy chatting it up and you be thinking about what you want to share today, let's take a few minutes to gather our energies together. And I'm going to close my eyes, and you can too if you'd like. I just like to take a nice, relaxing breath. And just let the earth turn on its own without our group for a little while. And as you sit here with your eyes closed, maybe you were working on something earlier, just allow yourself this luxury and space of time to set that aside and be here in this beautiful energy. And maybe you've had something you want to share about, and I hope you do. And that always gets our energy moving and a lot of myriad of topics. And so just feel into your heart and your soul and feel the connection with all the other people here. And take another deep breath and release. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okie dokie. Hi. All right. Well, so anybody, I want to hear from anybody that had an experience with any of these amazing little things that are going on right now. I'm going to remove my pen. And oh, we got some hands going. Okay, Jan and then Lena.
All right. So mine has been like a funky experience. And it started yesterday morning when I woke up, and I felt a lot of sadness is the way that I felt. I felt like a whole lot of emotion, and I did not know where it was coming from, in my mind with figuring, okay, am I sad about this or this? And I could not figure out where it was. And so I just thought, okay, this is something that is here, and I just need to let it move through. So when I went to work, people just irritated the living daylights out of me. It was awful because it took so much energy for me to be kind to them. And it was like it was like people just kept being put in my path for irritation. It's very hard to explain.
Yeah.
The day was really long because of that. And I came home, and usually when I come home into my home, which I find very, very, very peaceful, as soon as I walk in here, I could not brush off or get rid of these feelings that I was having. And it lasted through the night. I didn't sleep well. I had weird body aches. Yeah, weird body aches.
Yeah, you sound like me.
Oh my gosh.
I
So
was
there was
usually
this pain
grumpy.
in my right buttocks, And I would wake up during that and I would think, what in the heck is this? And my little dog Gracie didn't sleep very good, probably because I wasn't sleeping good. So that did it. So this morning when I woke up, and thank goodness I'm off today, because I felt totally drained, like I had been beat up. That's the best way to explain it. And I'm feeling a little bit better now after a couple of hours, but still there is this lingering thing that is happening. I even went online to see if there were if people were having symptoms from the eclipse, and there were like some doctors that were saying no, this isn't true, and then some people were saying this is what I'm experiencing. And so anyway, it hasn't been fun. It hasn't been like a fun time for me, like, woo, eclipse, yay. So I'm waiting for this wave to just like crest and then just like go and be normal again.
Yeah. Yeah, I relate to what you're saying completely, because I didn't really want to go outside. I did go to my exercise class, but I came home and I was really tired and achy all night long. My body just hurts. So I attributed that. So I thought it's better that I didn't go out during the eclipse. I was spare anybody my grumpiness, and I just went and lay down and slept. I just went,
Mhm.
I'm out. So, yep. Well, thank you. That was very validating for me. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, more to come. Lena, you want to share something?
Sure. Actually, two things. Quick on the eclipse. I did go out and I decided to go for a very long walk, and just had some errands to run. So I'm like, okay, let me just walk to Whole Foods, which I then realize is like 2 miles away. But I've done it before. And so didn't think about it. Didn't wind up going all the way, turned around and went back because I was just exhausted. Just no matter what I did, I was just each step I took, I was just more and more exhausted, which kind of gave me a flip into looking at Mercury retrograde a little bit earlier, a little bit differently. So like you'd said, often we have a tendency to look at it as, oh, well, if something goes wrong in communication, an appointment gets canceled or whatever, blame it on Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
But instead what happened was I had an appointment for physio a month out, like first week in May, second week in May, and got a call yesterday that there was a cancellation and I can go in tomorrow, which is a huge difference. And looking at it instead of, okay, so what hiccups in other people's lives can I take advantage of?
Right.
Or can actually be a good thing for me to look at?
Yeah.
And just an interesting, different way to look at Mercury retrograde.
Right. Yeah, that was good. That's good. It can, yeah, Mercury retrograde, there's nothing wrong with it. If you just kind of ride the wave of it, no need to work against it. Just let it flow with you. So that's cool. Welcome, Kim. Hi, I'm glad you're here.
Well, I, for one, I have been on these group meetings and my internet goes unstable. So then I have to go off, off the video. So if that happens, that's why, because my video is going crazy.
Okay, there you go. Mine just did the same thing just now. So I might go off. If my internet goes unstable and I freeze, I turn my camera off for a minute and then turn it back on. So if I ever do that, I didn't leave. I'm just trying to correct that. So, well, since you're up, Annie, you want to share something in
Sure.
any of these topics, or what's
A
going
friend
on?
of mine, and I talked about the eclipse coming, and she had read something, a horse astrological person talking about it, and suggesting the idea that could be a new beginning. We could be letting go of the old and starting something new. And I'm holding on to that thought. Many of you know that my husband has been ill for a very long time, and he had surgery February 15th, and he had ended up with a second surgery that very same night. He had it was open heart surgery, 2 chest wounds, 3 breathing tubes, to anesthesias, 23 days in the hospital, 8 days in ICU, then 23 days in the hospital, then went to TCU from February. So he came home on March 26th, the winteriest day of our whole winter. And then he was home 6 days and back in the hospital 5 days last week. And now he's home again.
Wow.
And so it's been a very, very long experience. And we really, really want a new beginning. But I have, and I believe he's finally turned the corner. He's finally feeling better. He was struggling with his breathing, feeling that even though his oxygen level was fine, he was breathless, couldn't keep his breath. So he was not wanting to move around, which is what you have to do. And anyway, to me, it's a new beginning. I've had a lot of gifts given to me over this time, the love, support, and prayers of many, many people. It's meant so much to me. I believe I've increased my faith, my faith, and I've increased my confidence in things that he always did for me that I have had to learn, including finances. It took me a couple weeks into it to realize, well, he's always paid the bills, and look at that, they're coming in, and I better figure it out. And Janny's been telling me that for a while anyway, but so I did, and my sister helped me, and my sister has been my rock, and we're figuring things out, and so I'm happy about that. So I look at this as hopefully I'm asking that we all envision him in his garden this summer, because that's what he wants to do more than anything. Really, he missed being in the garden all last summer. So I figure that's the epitome of his vibrant health, is to be back out in the yard and with his garden. So thank you.
Oh, Annie. Well, you look great for all that. Congratulations for stepping up and being the rock for your husband,
Yeah, thank you.
taking on things you haven't done before. So good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, that was
Don't
beautiful.
forget to take care of yourself too.
Well, that was, self-care has been something for me to learn for all these years. And a lot of people kept saying, well, how are you? And what are you taking care of yourself? And I'm like, well, I'm trying. I'm putting one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. And we've had some rocky road with my son while Ken was out of it and doesn't even know the whole story, but things are turning around for our relationship too. So yeah.
Dang.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story. And
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. My wife had a stroke that disabled her for about 4 or 5 years, and it's a tough transition. But being supportive of your husband like that is it's just where your path must be leading at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh.
Yeah, I shared with Ann just a little bit, what I went through with Alan before he died. Similar kind of heart stuff, but I got really strong in the face of that. And that, I just found out how strong I was and still finding out.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. Oh, cool. Somebody else, what's happening? You can share about anything here. Our topic is really just to get the conversation started. So, Megan.
all right. Well, I've had a very interesting few days. Probably many of you know that we're in Russell's parents' place and the house has been sold, and so we're transferring out of here, closing up the house, selling the things, etc., everything that goes in to that kind of thing. And we had everybody here on Saturday. We have a huge dumpster. Everything's going in the dumpster, or it's going to Goodwill, or wherever it goes. So that's always a transition. And then later on in the afternoon, I got an email from my brother, I've had this whole idea of my perfect banker, which I coined in one of our sessions, Jan. And this perfect banker idea was around our addition at the cottage. It's the 1887 cottage. The cottage was built in 1887, and it's gorgeous and very small and can no longer house our family. And so we've decided to put on an addition, and the addition will be fairly costly. And right after my brother's email, we got the estimate of exactly how much the cottage was going to cost, which was, of course, more than we thought it was going to cost. We have had a lot of problems, a very difficult time with my family, and we own a piece of property in common. And on the property is a farmhouse. It used to be called Swarthmore Hall, so it's a beautiful, gorgeous building. Farmhouse. It was built in 1864, and I have always felt this is my home. My roots are very deep. They're very soulful. I hear my ancestors there, everything. But we've been involved in this problem of how we're going to create enough income to maintain this place. And our cottage is also on this piece of land. It's a long, narrow piece of land, and all the cottages are down by the water. And my brother sent out an email, my older brother sent out an email on Saturday afternoon that he and his wife would like to buy the farmhouse. I went into a real tailspin. I felt like I was losing my home. I felt completely cast adrift. I didn't know what way to turn. I didn't know what to do. I went into this deep grieving. And so it was the experience of the depth of the grief kind of alongside of, and this is an opportunity because through their purchase of the farmhouse, it will give us, that could possibly be our perfect banker. I mean, it's kind of an odd situation, but that could happen. And also because of the purchase, it's going to ease up all of the dis-ease that has been so causing such dysfunction in our family. And as a matter of fact, one of my brothers has actually separated himself from the family because of all this, and he's one of the main causes of all the disruptions. So probably a lot of this is not making sense, but it's really, for me, it was a whole hive almost of activity. It was the ending, the beginning of all, and then all the grief, and so it was a very physical experience for me. I had no energy. I had all that irritation that you were talking about, Jan. It was like, I can't deal with anything. I can't deal with people. I can't deal with this and all of that. And today is really the first day where I feel that I can manage life in the world again. But it's an interesting experience. And I learned a lot, and I don't even know that I've, digested everything yet, but I feel so much differently today. So it's, is it the eclipse? Is it Mercury retrograde? Is it spring? I don't know what it is, but the synchronicity of all those events happening together, and then what happened to me and how I moved through that, and then can come here today and actually just not sit here and cry. I mean, to me, that's amazing. So,
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
So, in my career, I was an estate planning attorney, and
oh my goodness.
one of the challenges was what I call the family cabin trust, where there was a special property that had roots and meaning that go back in time. and how to create an ongoing entity that could, so that same sort of joy and experiences can be passed on to future generations. It's really a very complicated aspect, and not many families have found were able to rise to making that happen. New generations have different values, different thoughts. It doesn't have the same meaning to them. But hearing your story, and I don't know all of it, it sounds like it's like a breakthrough, so that maybe this is a path forward, so that some members of your family can share this very special place. I mean, just as you were describing it, it just sent messages to me that this has got to be a special place and an opportunity.
Well, thank you. That's interesting because we've just just beginning to work with an estate planner. And yeah, for me, this is a priceless gift. And I have 7 brothers and sisters, so it's been quite a process to work through it all.
Wow.
And but we are. And it's the, the ties of the land and the ties of family. They're so fragile, and yet they're so deep. And when all of those things are webbed together, they form something that is unbreakable. And when that is recognized, I think that gives us the strength to kind of work through the difficulties that we've been having. So thank you, Ted.
Yeah, my thought about it is I was kind of hearing that the theme of our call is change. Some of it that we wanted to happen and some of it that we don't. It was kind of like situations happen and then you change,
Mm.
whether you had it on your plans or not.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, that choice came to me. It was like right through. It's I either manage this or what.
Do you remember the movie Apollo 12? Everybody probably remembers that, where they were up in space and they were having a malfunction. Y'all remember that? Houston, we have a problem. They called to Houston. So in Houston and the NASA crew down on land crew, they went into the planning room and they dumped out on the table all the things that the astronauts had at their disposal in the spaceship to correct a problem. They didn't have everything. And so they said, all right, here's what we've got to work with. And we got to solve this problem or this is going to go badly. And I've always remembered that it feels like that's life. Here's what we've got to work with. We don't have everything. We just got this. Now get creative. Here's what we've got, and be creative what we've got. And that impacted me and still does whenever I get put in a situation where there's not a lot of options.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Megan. And it's all going to turn out great. I just want you to know that. Better than you can imagine. That's one of the goals that I like to write. I like to write down goals. And I write down a goal and then I add, and it'll turn out better than I ever imagined. Usually add that on the end. Okay, somebody else. What's next? Okay, Mr. Ripley.
So I'll share, I'm not too big into astrology and following all of those sorts of things, but it seems like since the eclipse, some positive things have changed in my life. About a year ago, I was going to sell the house that my wife and I owned, and I had a contractor come in to do some landscaping, make it more marketable. And he says, Ted, why don't you make this into an Airbnb? And so the next day, my daily task went from things to do to sell to things to do to make it to an Airbnb. But part of that plan was the proceeds from the sale were going to help me renovate a cabin built in the 30s, not nearly as old as the one that was spoken about earlier. And so it put me into a stressed financial position just because I was spending money out on this cabin and not having money coming in and spending more money to prepare it for the Airbnb. And so anyway, on Monday, I got word that an investment that I had deposited some money in my account, and it was just sort of like, oh, there's a message there, and it allowed me to move forward. And I'm signed up tomorrow for the Divine Dating application. And, Jan came back in my life in just sort of a mystical way. And I said, okay, I want to move forward, continue being able to do the things I can do and connecting with people. And so it seems like maybe the stars are aligned. I don't know how much, but anyway, I wanted to share that. So we'll see how it plays out.
You never know how it's gonna turn out. You never know. Never.
But it's going to turn out better than you ever
But
imagined.
it's gonna turn out better than you ever imagined. That's right. That's right. Let's see. I think, Kimmy, you're up. Would you like to share something?
Sure. Yeah, I came in late, so I think it's just an overall, what are you thinking in spring? And I don't know when Mercury went retrograde because I don't follow that, but
Well, the topic, just so you know, I just threw that as a topic. There's so many things. There's eclipses and new moons and Mercury retrograde and spring and,
lots of shifts.
lots of changes, shifts, energy
Yeah.
moving around. So
Definitely, I know I can know and feel that. And yeah, I'll just start talking and then whatever's supposed to emerge will come. So I have been, the eclipse just seems to be something I'm reflecting on deeply. And I'm in Colorado. It's not an area of totality, but this whole idea of, I've had several friends that were there and described the experience of that place of darkness covering the sun. And I'm just in a really deep place of healing within my own self around some interesting family dynamics around my father's estate and how that all played out, and a brother that kind of left out of, kind of walked out of family communication, and a family that left me with major complications to work out for a few years. When they were too busy or too overwhelmed or couldn't focus, and the story doesn't matter. What's happened from it, I use the words better than you can ever imagine a lot. It's just been a theme my husband and I kind of lay in our lives, but I've come to appreciate it may be different. And then I find it might not look better than I ever imagined, but what emerges if I keep that that love and that power of that internal light shining, it evolves to better than I can imagine. So out of that situation, which was pretty dark, it was like a total eclipse over the family. And at that time I had to, I saw it through the end, and then just stated to my family that I love and bless all your lives, and I need time to find my own, feel my own skin and my own life. And then really decided that's the start of my healing journey. And that was about I don't know, it may be coming up on 2 years in June. And I allowed things to be. I gave it more space. I didn't, try and fix it and heal it and solve it. And, which was something that the family meant a lot to me, but I allowed people the space. And it's amazing what's happening now is these events are emerging that are bringing us together. And I now am in a place where I can really be there in a different way, because I did my internal work around it. It was like, what's mine? What's mine to look at? What's mine to voice? And I had to put voice. I mean, I had to let some of this out and have discussions with my father, who's on the other side, siblings, and just allow that to move and get that energy moving up and out and through, because my theme was my own rebirth out of it. Blessings in disguise. That's what I kept looking. What are these blessings? And and I just kept calling my brother on key times. And this birthday in December, he actually picked up. And I was like, oh my God. And, it was pretty profound call. He said, I left because I thought maybe some of our siblings were in cahoots. And that's why it turned out so bad. I'm like, I said, what we were guilty of is being too innocent to what can happen in these situations. But no, our siblings. And so now I'm going to go down and see him. I haven't seen him in 5 years. And I'm going to go see him. His daughter's graduating high school. She sent an invite. And he said, I'm happy to pick you up. So that's happening. And then another sister who's really decided not to get involved and kind of away from the whole family, just wrote me and said, my birthday's coming up. Hey, can I come in and take you out the night before your birthday, fly in and then leave the next day? And I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. And what I do know is I need to speak my truth with compassion. So that's the next step, is I can do that. I feel like I've been preparing for 2 years for these moments to happen. And then my nephew's getting married in September. So the whole freaking clan is coming together. And I'm bringing my kids and their partners who haven't met any of my family. And I'm like, I am choosing to bless with love and joy the whole bloody mess, the whole thing. And, just show up true to what I've chosen, and I'm committed to even more because of all that we went through. So, and it's not like, oh, we're buddy, but, I will have to say some things so I can be there really with them and reform next chapters, next,
Right.
So that's, I wasn't planning to share any of that. And then all these stories came up.
So we've got the
Yeah.
theme of family and change and
Yeah.
communication, all of that changing.
And
Cool.
my husband's retiring in about a week after 4 years of transitioning his financial practice. And we're going to Mexico. That I set a date. I said, it's gone way longer. I said, I'm setting a date. We're going. All you talked about is going to the beach. And everything is landing the day before, just by divine blessing. I was like, oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Oh, that's been a while coming and it's here. So
It is.
yeah, good. You're the ultimate space holder for um in the Mayan calendar, there's something called Blue Storm. And Blue Storm people are like they're the eye of the storm. So they hold, when you're in the eye of the storm, you're calm rather than
Yeah.
being in the storm.
Mm.
And that's what I hear. You're the eye of the storm. Everything's moving around you, but you're holding strong
Thank
in the
you.
middle.
That's a good imagery to hold. Thank you.
Yeah, and you don't want to step into the storm. Just stay in the
Yeah.
middle. Stay in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you get pulled in, you go back.
And that's good, Jan, because there's been some big storms with my husband's transition. That's exactly what I've been doing, is kind of holding the space, coaching him through, speaking his truth with compassion to one particular person who's really
That's right.
been very difficult
Yeah.
with things. So been an honor to hold that space and feel trusted in it in different situations.
Yeah. Well, that's who you are. I see you that way.
Mm.
Um, Let's see.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome,
I have a
Anne.
feeling you touched Megan too.
Mhm. Yeah, very much.
Mm.
Yeah.
We always, we are each other. The trade as it sounds, we are one, but we all have similar situations.
Yeah.
Give or take or change a little part of it, but
Mm.
well, so I was going to show you. I wanted to show you something. I just thought of it, or I would have had it ready. Hold on. It's right here. It's a wedding invitation. Not me. My grandson is getting married. He is 24, well, almost 24. He will be in June. And this is Kinsey, and they are so sweet. Oh my gosh. He proposed to her. He had hired a photographer and said, well, because they're also graduating from college in May. And so he said, well, we're going to do some graduation pictures. My mom wants them. So the mom wasn't there, but my daughter is the mom. But anyway, so the photographer was there, and the photographer said, my grandson's name is Slade. She said, Slade, I have some props in the car. Would you get them for me? Well, what it was a big sign that said, will you marry me?
Oh.
So anyway, they're just real sweet. I went up 2 weekends ago for Easter, and I'm going back this weekend because the bridal shower is Sunday.
Wow.
I'm just choosing to really immerse myself in full Grammy good. She called me Grammy. I'm like, oh. So when I drove up for Easter, I went through, she and my grandson live in Amarillo. That's where they went to college. And she had suggested, if you'll come through Amarillo and pick me up, then I can ride with you to Spearman, Texas, where my daughter and son-in-law live. So Spearman, Texas is in the panhandle of Texas, near the Oklahoma border, 3,000 people. And so anyway, it's just really fun to watch them growing as a couple, and how sweet my grandson, what a good man he is, like I love seeing him be a good man, and he just wants to please her. And so he's just turning into, he was always a great kid, but it's enjoyable to be the elder and get to watch the growth in the kids. So that's really joyful For me, I'll be all immersed in that until the wedding, which is in June.
That's wonderful.
And then I'll be waiting to become a great grandmother,
Yes.
Wow.
which I'm not old enough for that, but I would welcome it anytime. So that's what's going on. I thought I would share a few things. I printed this out. Somebody wrote about the meaning of the eclipse, if you choose to. I heard a few things. It's a super moon, and it's supposed to be a powerful transformational time. And it will influence most of the month, so you have plenty of time to work with its influences. So just because we had it on Monday doesn't mean it's over. You're still, noticing things, feeling things. And like I noticed yesterday that the air seemed different when I was just out driving around. Like I don't know, just the vibe of the world seemed different. This new moon could completely bring a new direction in your life, especially if you have recently experienced a loss, change, shift, or sudden opportunities. Doors may open that were not there before, and new ideas and ways of problem solving could become clearly possible. The eclipse is grounded and anchored in future energy, hence the theme of the month, looking forward, instead of being trapped in the past. Anyone who is resistant to change or attached to an old set of intentions may have difficulty during this time. Staying present and aware is the key, as well as staying out of judgment, blaming, and disappointment. Take some time to reframe your intentions, infusing them with new energy and inspiration. This time also offers a portal that is an invitation to take the healing of old wounds and turn the reclaimed residual energy into your base of power and wisdom. Which I liked that, and whether it's an eclipse or not, it was good advice, for just living. So taking what's old and respinning it, letting it go, and that becomes wisdom. So I guess you might have seen a few emails from me recently about the divine dating blueprint. I finally allowed myself to be vulnerable and come out and be seen about it. And Ted is joining the class. We have 4 people starting tomorrow, maybe one more is considering. And so that's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And so I'm looking forward to it. So if we still have room, if anybody knows of anybody that's single or are wanting to reframe basically how they're approaching dating, send them to me. It's really the whole niche that I saw that was missing. I didn't see anybody talking about it out there, was the getting ready to date. Like nothing worse than jumping into something you're not ready for. So doing a little preparation ahead of time is a good idea. And even if, because I did that, I just totally jumped in with both feet right after Alan died, because I just wanted things to be normal. And they weren't. And normal for me was relationship. But that wasn't the answer. That wasn't the solution. It wasn't out there to get in a relationship. It was over here. So that's really the whole behind the scenes message of divine dating blueprint. And so the other thing that I decided, I was going to do Mark's MetaMind, and I decided against it. As much as I love that guy and want to do everything, it wasn't for me, and it just wasn't right. And I'm like, I have to honor that. So I said no, and that was hard to say, because I didn't want to disappoint him or me, but I said no. And then there was another program that I thought might be a good structure for me called Boss Babe. And I signed up for that and I've already canceled. And I'm like, so
Oh,
whatever is up for me isn't in, sorry, isn't in that either one of those programs, but I'm learning what I need, what I want, and I don't have all the answers. I just still in the curiosity and intentional that sacred synchronicity path. It's hard to pin things down when you're just waiting for guidance, let's say, of what's right. So things come along, it's not always the right place for me to be, but I look at it or I consider it. But then ultimately, nobody out there can tell me what's right for me. It's got to be from inside. So I've just been more and more in that place. But I've been noticing how I feel about things. Like, I mean, I can look at this and I get a lot of joy. Like, do I want to drive 6 hours to a bridal shower this weekend and then 6 hours home? Hell yes, I do. This is my grandson. This is my grandson and my new granddaughter. Okay.
Yes,
Hell yes, I'm doing that. You couldn't, wild horses couldn't stop me.
yes.
And like that. So like, where is the joy? Where's the joy?
Mm.
Where's the passion? Where's the hell yes, that is for me. And if it's not there like that, I'm just going, nope, gotta pass. Thank you. And not right now. So that's what I've been noticing.
Hmm. Good discernment, Jan.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, so it's being, as Kim was saying, being in the being
Uh-huh.
and listening and being and resting. And it's like the seed in the blackness in the earth, and that's the spring energy. All these seeds have been deeply buried for 6 months from fall till spring. And kind of what I heard Kim and you just saying, Jan, is that being is in the darkness, it's in the earth, and letting that be your nourishment. And that gives you the energy and the force and the direction to grow
Hmm.
and to know what you're going to look like when you come out of the ground into a beautiful flower.
Hmm.
And I also heard the word unknown, being in the unknown,
Mm.
you know, because I'm someone that likes to know. I like to know. This is Sophie, by the way. She
Hi,
likes,
Sophie.
she likes the Zoom.
It's nice to see her.
She's 14,
Wow.
I think, maybe 15. All right, hang out.
Hmm.
And that, you know, the animals are good messengers for observation. So I have a chaise lounge out on the patio, you know, for summertime. It's kind of this, doesn't have a cushion on it right now, so the back of it kind of leaning back. Sophie's out there this morning in the sunshine, leaning back and preening herself. And I'm like, I need to be more like her. She's just like, it's the morning, you know, what's the rush? I'm always like, oh, I got to get to the workout class and got to have a busy schedule. No. Yeah, no. So with all of this newfound wisdom, maybe the question is, how can we gather that and use it in the coming month? How can I apply that to my areas of interest? So, like Patty, some of you met Patty, my friend that lives here, and I was like, well, I need to do another promotion for the class. There's only 4 people in it. I should do another one. And she said, did you just say should? And I went, uh-huh. She said, oh, so you're shitting on yourself about that. Oh yeah, totally. I would like totally went so into the should, like, so that's so enrolling, right? Everyone wants to jump on that. And she said, well, maybe you're not supposed to have a big class. Maybe you're supposed to have that class, and then you'll know where you want to go from there. I went, that is so beautiful. That's how I'm taking my newfound wisdom is I put a little effort out to promote and do the class and talk to people. I had a wonderful response. A lot of people emailed me, and that was wonderful. And now the class will start tomorrow, and just I'm ready. I'm just like happy. This is our group, and on the other side of that, I'll know where to go next. Rather than trying to always, my whole life, make something happen. Which I have been also applying now recently to dating. And I met 3 very nice people, men, just recently. And I am not about making anything happen. If something happens, it will. Not like I'm doing nothing, but I'm just like holding space like you did, Kim, and everybody here. And letting it happen the way it's supposed to happen.
And what I'm noticing too, Jan, and it's like as we get more in tune with ourselves, one thing I'm just paying attention to is that human instinct side that wants to be the good girl, get the right students, get, all of that in my life. I'm really watching the catches so that I can respond in a much more discerning and authentic way for what's real and right now. So, and that's a lot of, to me, I do feel like the snake on peeling the skin, growing, and I keep doing this with my body, like outgrown that. Oh, wow. And some of those habits have been there a long time. So what I find is as I settle more into Megan, that deeper root of myself, I allow more space to not be on those just instinctual rides of, just, and it can be kind of funny to notice. I mean, I'm going into a tennis tournament this weekend, and I see the old way of like, I don't want to disappoint my partner, and I got to get out there, and then I'm like, what am I doing this for? I'm doing this because I love it. I love connecting with that community, great people, do my best. I love moving my body. So what channel am I choosing to tune into? And a profound moment my husband and I had as he's working through this sticky situation, which should be one of the most joyful times, 4 years of doing this in integrity and real intentionality. And all of a sudden he went, this should be my greatest time with you of celebrating this beautiful transition. And this energy over here is kind of come what's in my brain. And literally that day before the eclipse, he said, I'm shifting into the joy and the goodness of what's happening. And it's just, it was amazing to see just that proclamation, what a difference that can make. And, you know, Megan, I just feel that situation, and it's like, it's, you know, standing in those questions of what might be a different way to look at this, which you have been like, wow, maybe this is going to be that I forget, special banker, or that will be able to do that dream we've had. I don't know the answers, but I know the power of standing in that question, and rather than just being in reaction. So let that energy move, like you did, cry, and now in this new space, what's possible? You know, what's better than I could ever imagine. So anyway, that's what was coming up, Jan, when you were speaking.
Yeah, Megan, when you said your brother, I believe it was, wanted to buy the whole parcel, but you had the thought, well, maybe that's my perfect banker. That's it right there. It was, I mean, the other came later, you know, about the loss, but in that moment you like saw the possibility. May not be, and it might be. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
This is such a circle of beings. It's a place to cherish. It's a place to really love and be heard. And I thank each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Holding you in I can speak in my heart and prayers as you navigate through, you know, what you're being asked to navigate through right now, Megan, and you too, Anne. You know, that takes a lot of fortitude and strength, and, you know, may that blessing of fortitude and strength and clarity keep coming into your lives. As you know, sometimes our lives brings us those, you know, river rafting, those, what do they call it, level 5 waves. So, you know, but you both, I mean, beautiful hearts to navigate, to really help see through difficulties, I think, in a miraculous way in the end. I think, yeah.
Right after Alan died, my daughter came to town immediately, and she walks in and she hands me a little jewelry bag that had a bracelet in it and said, "You were born to do hard things."
Wow.
And I wore that. It actually broke like several years later, but I wore it every single day to remind me I was born to do hard things. But I'm open if they're easy. Okay, so
Well, yeah, out of that
I mean,
break
and I'm
hard.
cool with that. I'm really cool. I just want to set the record right. I'm
I
really
was
cool
gonna
with
say,
that.
I was waiting for the ...
And yes,
And
yes, and
yes, and
I can do easy too. Oh, you guys are the best, the best, the best. So, well, anybody want to you like an intention to hold for you, or a word before we see each other again next month, which will be when's the date? Where's my phone? Second Wednesday of the month. Trying to keep that accurate. So let me just be sure, since I have wedding
May 8th, maybe, is it?
May 8th. Yeah, because May 1st is the first Wednesday of the month. Second one will be the 8th. To be earlier in the month. So,
I don't know why I'm called to say, I have an affinity with trees. I've written several poems that are pretty deep about them. And so when we're talking about the seeds instead of flowers, I'm thinking about trees. I'm thinking about the trees grow deep roots, and Megan's talking about deep roots, and Kim is talking about deep roots. I'm thinking about growing strong and tall and sturdy and able to withstand the winds of change and, be there for other people, but be firm within ourselves.
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah. Mm.
wow, I love that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's nice.
Hmm.
So have hope that the seeds you're planting are going to be legacies.
Hmm.
I've never wanted to have a legacy, but the idea is beginning to grow on me a little bit. And I want mine to be about kindness matters. Kindness matters. If I do nothing more than to teach my grandson, please and thank you, I hope that will be remembered by him forever.
I have a feeling you're going to teach him way more than that, Anne.
Yes.
Just saying.
We'll
Thank
be
you. I'm
holding this
trying.
up soon enough.
Yeah,
You're
I'll
on
be an old
Thursday.
lady by the time that happens. He's only 5. But who
Oh,
knows?
who knows?
A little young for marriage, I would say.
Yeah, it could be turning out better than I think, huh? That could be there. As
Yes.
long as I'm healthy and strong. Please, God, yes.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.
thank
Yeah.
you. All
Thank you.
right, well,
Wonderful
love
to
you
be with
all.
you.
Bye.
See you next
Bye.
time.
See
Much
you.
love.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Mwah.
everyone.